Okay, good evening, everyone. So we
Good.
will discuss the guide questions that were given to us by our professor in research methodology. So we'll start first with introducing ourselves and then we'll continue with the questions. So, by the way, I'm Salvador Manigo from CIT University, a faculty of Ecology Communities. With the
Uh,
number
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Geraldine A. Boy, grade 2 teacher from Agining President Carlos P. Garcia, Bohol.
Yes, hi classmates. My name is Gladeline A. Yana, and I'm also from Agining, President Carlos P. Garcia Bohol. I'm 28 years old and I am a public school teacher handling grade 6 pupils for 6 years.
Hi everyone. Hi classmates. So good evening. Good evening. My name is Clarissa Cañete and I am a part-time teacher here in Talisay City College and also affiliated in Accenture. Thank you and nice meeting you all.
Hello everyone, my name is Lyra May Bilamala, 25 years old, a public teacher at Bitlang Integrated School handling senior high school students.
Okay, so we'll now proceed with understanding the different area and the different query about research. We'll start with the characteristics of research. So for me, research possesses several essential characteristics that guide its effectiveness and impact. First, it should address priority problems, focusing on issues of significance. Secondly, research requires a systematic and logical approach, emphasizing structured procedures and sound reasoning. Thirdly, it should be reductive, allowing others to build upon existing findings and are replicable in different settings. In other words, it must be action-oriented towards solving real-world problems and adopt a multidisciplinary approach. Research also would help our policymakers, decision makers, as well as community members in making the best out of every area or scenario. So these characteristics collectively ensure that research is purposeful, impactful, and beneficial to society.
Okay, so in addition to that, in my case, I think research is as systematic and logical as well, as mentioned earlier, where research follows a structured and logical process with clearly defined steps and methods which we gather data, analyze, and interpret data. And also, I guess it's also critical and analytical, which researcher critically analyze existing literature and other data.
Yes, in addition to that, also, research it is organized in a logical and scientific manner. It is also objective, wherein a research must not be biased, and the results after being determined should be verified or validated, and it must be clear and properly explained.
Furthermore, research is a systematic process of inquiry that aims to generate new knowledge, solve problems, or validate existing knowledge. It is a critical component of many different fields, including science, engineering, medicine, business, and humanities. So, the characteristics of research is empirical, systematic, controlled, objective, logical, and replicable.
Furthermore, research is it involves a systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of data to generate new insights or to validate existing knowledge. And some of the key characteristics of research was empirical approach. So here we have to base our research or our evidence on direct observation or experimentation. And also, it is objective and unbiased. So it should strive to minimize personal biases or preconceptions and logical and rational. So um, research relies on logical reasoning and also in rational thinking. And most especially, it has ethical consideration. So it is the it is very integral to research that we must conduct our studies with integrity, respect for our participants, and rights and privacy. That's all.
Okay, in other words, if we're going to summarize what we have shared, an effective research prioritizes significant issues following a what we call a systematic procedures and encouraging building upon existing findings. So it also fosters new questions, solves real world problems, and embrace in a multidisciplinary while involving all other concerned parties. So this ensures that those characteristics that we've mentioned serve a meaningful purpose and has a lasting impact and benefit in the society. So now we'll now proceed with the attributes of an effective researcher. As a researcher, we must always have this thought that how can become an effective researcher. So a great researchers possess several key qualities. First, they must exhibit boundless curiosity, constantly seeking new knowledge and asking questions. They must also possess strong analytical abilities, collecting data and identifying meaningful patterns, like detectives piecing together clues. A researcher must also determine another hallmark that they must be persistent in the face of setbacks, learning from failures, and be persevere enough in their quest for answers. Collaboration is also crucial in as a researcher because research involves teamwork. You cannot work on your own in finding solutions to certain problems. And lastly, of course, there must be an effective communication that are considered to be vital skills from of course sharing findings with our colleagues, publishers, and even ensuring that our research has a meaningful impact to our society.
In addition to that, also an effective researchers has a critical thinking, wherein effective researchers are skilled at critically evaluating information. Another is problem solving skills because a researcher excel at defining research like problems, designing studies, and developing creative solutions to some issues. And for me, the third one is the analytical skills. This ability is to analyze data and draw meaningful conclusions as well.
In addition, a good researcher must have a curious mind wherein we have the ability to look at things from different perspective. That what makes a good researcher. Good researcher also is observant about the world around them and open to new ideas and possibilities. They are always asking questions and looking for answer. Another is critical thinking. A successful researcher must be critical thinker about the information they gather while reading about new developments in their own and related fields. And another characteristics of an effective researcher, a researcher must have or must focus on the detail or have the attention to the detail. It is being meticulous in your work, so researchers need to pay attention to every detail from the design of an experiment to the analysis of data and further in writing and submitting their manuscript for publication.
Okay, so here are some other attributes that are often associated with successful researchers. First is creativity. So researchers need to be able to think outside the box and to come up with new and innovative ways to approach problems. Next is independence. Researchers need to be able to work independently and to take initiative. The third one is teamwork skills. Research is often a collaborative process. Researchers need to be able to work effectively with others, including other researchers, technicians, and support staff. And also, open-mindedness is important. Researchers need to be open to new ideas and to the possibility that they may be wrong. And lastly, the integrity. Researchers need to be honest and ethical in their work.
Okay, aside from that, to have a successful and impactful research work, so an effective researcher must have a critical and analytical thinking skills. So they must have possessed strong critical thinking skills to evaluate and identify the patterns and to make informed judgments about the validity and the relevance of the study. And then one must have a good problem solving skills. So it is very relevant to know whether it is designing experiments or analyzing data. So to address properly the challenges in your study and being resourceful, I mean. So researcher must have or can find access or resources, whether it's literature, data, or funding to support their research endeavors.
Okay, so all in all, an effective researchers embody a diverse attributes from curiosity, critical thinking skills, adaptability, integrity, teamwork skills, attention to detail, critical and analytical skills, problem solving, and resourcefulness. So these qualities empower researchers to explore, innovate, and make a meaningful outcome.
Okay, so we'll now proceed with the third one, the sources of feasible problem in research. So what do you think are some of the researches that are considered to be feasible problem in research? A feasible problem in research is one that can be realistically addressed given the available resources, time, and expertise. I think feasibility in research often determined by factors like scope of the problem, data availability, budget constraints, and the skills of the research team. Like, for example, conducting a nationwide survey on a limited budget may not be feasible. So, but a smaller scale study in a specific region might be achievable. So, therefore, feasible research problems are those that can be effectively researched and analyzed within the practical constraints of the research project.
Okay, in addition to that, we also have time constraints. So time, okay, when we choose a problem that can be investigated within the available time. So sometimes we have short time. Okay, and another is the research expertise. So select a problem which align to our research is not that easy. Okay, so we collaborate with others if necessary to fill our knowledge gaps as well.
As a researcher, it is important to identify our research problem. So that is a problem that is relevant, original, and feasible. A research problem is a specific issue. It may be a specific issue, a gap, or a challenge that we want to address in our study. It will guide us into our research questions, objectives, methods, and outcomes.
Okay, so when choosing a research problem, it is important to consider the following factors. So as what you've said, the interest, the relevance, and the originality. So feasibility, the problem should be feasible to research given the available resources, the time, and expertise. The interest, of course, the researcher should be interested in the problem and motivated to study it, because without that, course, you cannot continue in doing that research. Next, relevance. The problem should be relevant to the field of study and have the potential to make contribution to knowledge. And originality. The problem should be original and not have already been extensively studied.
Okay. Addition to that, there are different sources of problems that can arise from a wide range of topic, and identifying these sources is often the first step in solving them or with our study. So first, source of problem is like social issues. So many research problems originate from pressing social issues. So topics like inequality, like climate change, or we also have healthcare disparities. Or we can have our sources of problems in practical challenges in our specific fields. Like if you are working in our specific industry, or you're a professional teacher, or you have research problems that can emerge from practical challenges or issues that need resolution. Or we can also have sources that can serve as a starting point for identifying feasible research problems. So it is very essential to refine our sources of problem further by considering our interests, our expertise, available resources, and the significance of our problem in our chosen field of study.
Okay, let's now proceed to the first query. That will be what are needed considerations to prioritize possible problems in research. So when you're conducting a research, you must need to decide what problems to tackle first. You should think about how each problem could affect your research goals and how long it might delay you and if it might waste your resources because there are research that should be either needed an immediate answer and at the same time there are also research that requires long time to tackle. So problems that could mess up your data or have ethical or legal issues should be fixed right away. So also consider that there are easy solutions or if the problem is a big risk. So it's a good idea to talk to others together with the team for advice and keep an eye out for new problems that might come up while you're doing your research. So the goal is to deal with the most important issues to make sure your research goes well.
Okay, in addition to that, when we talk about problems, we make sure that we have clear define of our research objectives and goals. And at the time, we can ensure that our selected problems are aligned with our research objectives and goals. And also, important is we make sure that our data is available. Okay, to check that all the data sources are accessible for us and easy for us to access.
Okay, so there are several considerations to prioritize feasible problems in research, and some of those are first, the impact. How significant is the problem, and how many people will it impact? Next is the relevance. How relevant is the problem to your field of study and to society as a whole? Feasibility. Do you have the resources of time and expertise needed to research the problem effectively? To interest. Are you personally interested in the problem and motivated to study it? And the originality. Has the problem already been well studied?
So in addition to that, the different consideration in prioritizing the feasible problems in research is that your research objectives and your goal must be aligned with your impact or in achieving this goal or your specific problems. And then the magnitude of impact. So you have to assess the potential impact or the consequence of each problem so on our research outcomes, and also the feasibility of mitigation. So we have to evaluate the feasibility of on how to address each problem and the issues. And also we also have to take into account the research timeline and to prioritize our problems that are time sensitive.
Okay, overall, the formulation of our research problem is very important as it defines the quality and validity of the contents of our research. Thus, formulating research problem is the most crucial step in research. So it is therefore necessary to consider all those different priorities in choosing feasible problems. The key sets of factors have been recognized as being involved in the formulation of research problems. These are the internal and external factors as all of your um, ideas earlier. Those are under internal and external factors or considerations in choosing or in prioritizing feasible problems.
In summary, knowing the characteristics because it provides a foundation for understanding on how to conduct a high quality, effective, and impactful research. It also guides the research process, ensures methodological rigor, and contributes to the advancement of knowledge in various disciplines. And also, if you know the attributes of a good researcher, you can play a vital role in shaping the quality, the ethics, and also recognizing and understanding the essential for conducting ethical and high quality practice. So this attribute shapes how researchers approach their work, collaborate with others, and contribute to the advancement of knowledge within their respective fields. In addition to that, knowing the sources of feasible sources of feasible problem is significant for several reasons, as it directly impacts the effectiveness and relevance of the research and problem-solving efforts. And also, it is essential for ensuring that research and problem solving or your research are meaningful, align with the needs and challenges of the real world, and maximizes the potential benefits of this practice for individual and also organization. Prioritizing feasible problems in research also involves assessing its significance, impact, clarity, and the urgency so that resources and the research can be allocated effectively. That's all, and thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for sharing your ideas, and hope we'll have more learnings to come in our next work activity. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone.